So my name is Maik with AI, and I work for a company called Parloa. We are doing contact center automation, and just imagine you're calling into a telephone hotline. How it sounds nowadays is usually press 1 for insurance, press 2 for contract. And that's not a great experience, right? So today I want to talk about how the contact center industry is being transformed, how it is being shaped in the near-term future by using OpenAI technology, especially GPT-4o with multi-agent crews, and the human-in-the-loop integration to make sure we can use it safely. We at Parloa, we believe that every customer interaction should be as easy as talking to a friend. So just imagine you're calling in, you want to have it natural, you want it to be trustable, you want it to be safe. And this is what we call a personal AI agent, so every conversation is unique. It's not just deflecting the calls, it's actually making sure that we resolve the issues. If you look in nowadays world, we do have contact centers all around the globe, all around the world. There are human agents and customer care representatives, it is being called, working on different levels. These are all human agents who work day in, day out in a call center, and that's actually not an easy job. I've been visiting call centers in Malaga, in Cairo, talking to the agents there. It's a really hard job to do. If we look into the future, we want to support that kind of work by introducing AI agents to the workforce of human agents that are working in contact centers. And this does not mean that we are replacing human agents doing that job. We will complement it. Because you saw it in the demo from Romain. He was ordering pies, but it wasn't him who was doing the call. He instructed his assistant to do it on his behalf. Now imagine your personal assistant that you have in your pocket, your Siris, your Alexas. They're all doing phone calls, not only to one place, but maybe negotiating a pie price with 10 different vendors. Who's picking up the call on the other side? It can be human agents. It won't be possible. We cannot cover the whole market. We won't be able to manage that inflow of call volume, and this is where AI agents can be a solution to also be able to pick up these calls on the other side. The challenge that comes with it is we do have actual customer interactions. We are talking to our customers and we care about our customers. So we need to come up with new solutions in how to put this technology safely and responsible into production. And this is where the AI agent lifecycle comes into play. It's not just about building a Hello World example or putting it into production without caring about the performance. It's actually making sure the whole lifecycle is supported. And this is where we, earlier this year in September, launched our AI agent management platform, which we were working on for 1.5 years. It was quite tricky not to talk about it, so we needed to keep our mouth shut. And we then launched it in September, and finally we are able to talk about it. We try to cover all the parts that you need to have to properly put it into production. This comes with design and integration. Design and integration means I'm building an AI agent. I prompt it with natural language briefing, and I also integrate it to third-party tools because I need to interact with the outside world, fetching information and putting data back to the systems where they belong to, and making sure that we test it properly. Testing changed. So we were coming from an IVR world. This is like intent classification, natural language processing. We are trying to take a word, put it into an intent, and then try to navigate along the path. Very fixed, very easy to test a happy path. But now we are dealing with a world that is non-deterministic. So we need to change the approach. And the approach that we are choosing is simulation and evaluation, making sure that we can actually test it. And the first 2 parts will be the key focus of the session today. But for sure, we also need to make sure that we deploy and scale it. Why? In contact centers and in customer service, we usually see large spikes of call volume. So one day, you could have thousands of calls more than on the other day. And you need to make sure that using large language models can deal with the amount of calls that are coming in. And on the other side, we want to derive KPIs and data, quantifiable data of what's working, how many people are calling in, and this is the last step, monitor and improve. And then the whole process starts again in order to make sure we increase the autonomy rate of the AI agents that we are using. Coming to the first part, the design and integrate part. This is how it looks like when we are building this AI agent. It's a natural language briefing. You can compare it to the way how a human agent starts their job when they are on the first day. Like they are being told, what company are you working for? What products do you support? How do you handle the cases when somebody is calling in? And you're prompting that with natural language. So the whole way on how we build these kind of experiences changes as well. we are using natural language. We are no longer programming. It becomes much easier also for subject matter experts to actually work on AI agents. The thing is, it's hard. You all know prompt engineering is a science for itself, and it won't become easier in the near-term future. So at Parloa, we set out to support especially the initial stage of getting from 0 to 1 when you are having a use case that you want to support. And this is where a multi-agent prompt engineering crew comes into play, where we are trying to support our conversational designers. How that works is we are replicating the roles that we usually have in our teams and are trying to do the whole process with autonomous GPT-4o-based agents. So we have a vice president customer success with a lot of experience making sure to navigate the different work streams. And we have 2 people collaborating, the solution engineer, which is focused on the integration part, how do I get systems connected, and the CX designer, who is focused on how to make the best conversational strategy overall. This crew is working collaboratively, and the manager makes sure that it meets the goals that we set out with best practices, with prompt examples, and all the best practices that we see in the field that we always reincorporate back. And in the end, we are generating a JSON configuration that is being used by our AMP studio. The thing is, this is a recursive loop in itself, so the agent designer, the conversational designer, also needs to potentially instruct back about improvements, about things that have been missed out, or about a use case that we didn't consider in the beginning. And then in the end, if we are happy with the first draft, with the first design that our crew came up with, we need to simulate and evaluate it. To go a bit into technical details, our configuration structure is a bit different to the traditional prompt that you're seeing when you're plainly prompting. Why? We need to support specific parts for telephony. A classical use case is, for example, handovers, telephony handovers, where we want to hand over to human agents for specific use cases, and this is where a SIP tool, for example, comes into play. We're also structuring the prompt between the persona, the different kind of descriptions that we need to pass for the parameters, where we want to pass meta information to third-party tools, and all of that needs to be considered. So it's much more complex than just the normal textual prompt. And then we have the roles, the role descriptions, where we opted for the YAML way of describing it to make sure that also our solution engineers themselves can easily collaborate. All of this is based on the Crew AI framework. Crew AI primarily because of the usability and the developer experience, so that we can loop in more people from CX or from our own solution engineering to help with that process. And now we end up with a prompt. The challenge is, how do we know that the briefing that we generated and the briefing that we came up with actually does what it is supposed to do? And this is where simulation and evaluation comes into play, where we need to test the reliability of that prompt. So we have the conversational designer, we have a configured AI agent configuration, and on the other side, we have actual customer conversations. So we are working with call centers together, so we have sample data from actual use cases in the field, and we're taking these to derive customer persona. So just imagine we have an angry caller, we have a child that is calling in, an elderly person. It's completely different personas that are calling in, and we need to make sure that we simulate all the different variants in order to make sure that our AI agent is simulated with the different customers and can handle these cases according to the briefing that we provided in the agent configuration. All of these conversations are being evaluated with contact center specific evaluation criteria, and in the end, this generates insights for the conversational designer to make sure that we improve over time the whole configuration, and we make sure we are compliant with the goals that have been set out by the company. This is how it looks like in the UI. So we abstracted all the complexity away for our customers themselves. They have an easy way to run simulations, to configure the personas that they want to test, how many iterations you want to do, how many simulations you want to run. So you can think about it like running thousands and thousands of conversations so that we can properly quantify the reliability of the large language model and make sure that it's safe to use also for production use cases. And the evaluation criteria in itself is a mixture of the technical accuracy. It's essentially like an end-to-end integration test, like we know it from software engineering, where we can also test for API errors. Because sometimes it's not even the AI agent who is at fault. Sometimes it's the API from the customer who is sending a bad response or that is not reacting properly. And on the other side, we have the language behavior itself. How do we handle the conversation? Do we properly act, for example, with the corporate wording? Do we recommend a competitor if you're asking specifically? All of the things that we need to have for compliance, we can make sure that we either pass or fail that criteria. The thing is, in real life, not every customer interaction can be handled autonomously. This is how it is nowadays. So we need to come up with a solution on how we handle conversations that cannot be fully automated. And at Parloa, we build a solution for that where we incorporate the concept of an AI agent with a human agent. How that works is we hand over that call to a human agent, but the customer and the human agent, they don't hear each other. The human agent sees this interface you're seeing right now. The whole conversation is being transcribed in real time, and the AI agent proposes proper responses to the human agent. You saw these little blue buttons. The human agent can just select a proposed response. If the human agent is not happy with the proposed response, they can just still speak to the phone, and everything the human agent says is also being transcribed and then put back into the chat-ML context that we use for the AI agent. So the human can chime in, control the conversation if need be, and the AI agent will adopt that kind of guidance or how the conversation flows in the next turn and propose, for example, a better suggestion next time. This way, the agent is supported in their job, and the good side effect that we have by making sure that the human agent and the consumer, they are not connecting directly to each other, we can even bridge the language barrier at the same time. So this is completely language agnostic. So a Swedish caller can call in and a German human agent can support them. And we can make sure that we use large language model to accelerate the whole process and still make sure that the latency is as low as possible. And this is also super interesting for customers who are a bit objective against generative AI usage or who have concerns. This way we can make sure it's safe to use and it's always being supervised by human agents who have the experience on how to handle these kind of cases. Why is this important? If you look into the past, this is how the world looked like. We have a lot of IVR systems, press number 1, press number 2, and a lot of human agents, junior agents, senior agents working on the different levels. With the emerge of AI, we entered the AI transition phase where we came up with rule-based AI agents, mostly based on natural language processing, intent classification, in parts, but we still had a lot of IVR and junior agents and senior agents who have to handle that. Right now, we are entering an era where we have autonomous AI agents who are taking over more and more jobs, who can complement, for now, the rule-based systems, and who will make sure that we are slowly but steadily getting rid of the IVR solutions with the bad customer journey in itself. If you look into the future, we will enter an era where it's called AI-first contact center. And funnily enough, it was in one of the podcasts where Sam Altman was talking to Lex Friedman, and he estimated around about a year ago that potentially contact centers might be one of the first industries being completely disrupted. He was right. This is currently happening. So we are rolling out that solution with call centers and contact centers around the world. And if you look into the future, when we have more capable models, more autonomy, and more ways to connect to third-party system, more instruction following, we will have autonomous agents dealing with the cases where the customers are calling in and fully autonomously resolving them end-to-end, even integrating to the systems and automating the whole process. The important part is we still will have human agents. And the difference to how they work nowadays and how they work in the future is they will be promoted, essentially, to become senior agents and AI coaches or supervisors. So the future that we envision is that contact centers of the future will help AI agents to do a good job, and the human agents will become the supervisors for all of these AI agents. That's a future that we envision, and at Parloa we believe that the leaders of this era, the companies who try to do good contact and customer service, they will provide a personal AI agent for every customer. My last take for that round here, let's prove to the world that large language models can have a good benefit to society, to humanity, and also consider the organizational changes that are about to happen in the past and help everyone adopt to it. Thank you for taking the time, and see you.